Hello everyone, welcome to the Pitch Birmingham Regional Final. My name is Christopher Goodfellow and I'm the Programme Manager of the Pitch. We're here tonight to welcome the region's most exciting founders, hear what their business is about and find out who's going to win the regional final and go on to the grand final next month. We had over 500 entries to the pitch this year, so even to get this far is really, really competitive, and you'll hear from a really wide range of founders, all very purpose-led, but all solving very, very different challenges. So the evening's going to start with a judges panel where you'll get to hear from our judges a bit about what they look for in startups, the kind of support they offer, and you also have an opportunity to ask them questions too. So if you are running your own startup or perhaps supporting somebody that is, there is an opportunity to talk to the judges and ask them any questions particular to your funding journey or somebody else, so do have a think about that. So I'd love to start by welcoming Emily and the judges on stage, and if I could get a huge round of applause, thank you.
Hey guys, it's great to see so many people here. Thank you so much. You've got a very exciting evening ahead. I'm sure we're very eager to see all the pictures. But before we get into it, I'm going to hear from these guys, just hear a bit more about what they do and the kind of investment that they offer to startups like yours. So just a few questions for you guys. We've got Colin here from NewFin Capital, Craig from Turnkey, and Tom from Seedrs. So first off, can you just start by telling us a little bit more about who you are and what you do?
Right, so I'm Colin Weston. I'm an angel investor. I specialise mostly in fintech, but also SaaS and marketplace businesses. My background is banking and financial, so I was an investment banker doing M&A. Then about 5 years ago, I co-founded a digital services business. And the last year and a half, I've been building up a portfolio of angel investments.
Hi everyone, Craig McVoy, CEO and founder of Turnkey. We're a venture studio where we invest in high growth potential startups and turn them into scale-ups. We do so through quite a unique model where we don't take a fee, we take a complete equity slice on the basis of a sweat equity investment, and we do that probably somewhere between 150 to 200k of sweat equity into your business over an 18-month period. My background is very different. We both obviously escaped the corporate world at some point. I had 25 years corporate in C-suite roles in the corporate world, then had 10 years of consultancy background, and now this is my third career in terms of having a venture studio. So we're sector agnostic. We look for businesses that have got an ability to get to 10 million within 5 years.
Great. And Tom?
Awesome, thank you. Hi everyone, I'm Tom Field from Seedrs. So Seedrs is a private investment platform for raising investment for startup and scale-up businesses. We actually got acquired by Republic, which is a US crowdfunding platform last year. Makes us globally the biggest platform of this kind of nature in the world. So over 3 million investors, over 2,500 investment rounds we've done. Pretty big profile, very sector agnostic. And we have really hungry active investors who want to find scalable opportunities in businesses. So from a personal point of view, it's actually my second time working at Seedrs. I left to go and be the CEO of my own business, which I was running on the side in UV disinfection technology. Been doing it way before COVID and everyone called me crazy. And then when COVID hit, we got very fortunate because the technology suddenly became very, very relevant. So I exited that last year and then I found my way back at Seedrs again. So I head up the business development team in the UK. So really looking forward to tonight and seeing some awesome pictures.
Great, thank you guys. So firstly then, what's kind of the immediate thing you're looking to hear from our pitches tonight, or any pitch that you might come across?
Shall I go first?
Since you're holding the mic.
For me, I love passion and enthusiasm for the founder's craft and what they do and how they got their story, how they got into it, and crucially what their vision is of how they're going to drive this forward. I think we see so many pictures which are brilliant on doing the first part, which is saying, here's the idea and here's what we do and everything else. But actually, if I put myself in the shoes of our investors, they want to see that pathway to scalability, that pathway to growth, what that looks like. So I really want to see founders with that passion and vision, and how that materialises with future-proofing the company, basically.
I guess the first thing that we look for is a problem worth solving. So unfortunately, too many founders seem to find their way into a problem that doesn't really need solving. So we look for that as a genuine piece first and foremost. It sounds cliche, but we look at the team. Are they mouldable? Are they a team that can take advice and our expertise and then take them on to the next level? And you mentioned passion, which is really important, and resilience, because it's quite a tough journey no matter where you are. So those are three things for us.
Yeah, so I invested at pre-seed and seed, so it's very early, there's not much data, there's not much to go on, so it's mostly about the founders. And I also look for a good origin story, particularly to see sort of the founder market fit. So if you hear people who are, particularly B2B, if they've, been in this, 10 years, no one's solving this problem, they understand it, that's always a good signal. And then the founders, passion, but I guess if you want to simplify it, it's two things from the way I look at it is sales skills and execution skills. So people who can sell, that's existential. Every business needs to have sales. Founders are always selling. They're trying to get money. They're trying to get customers. They're trying to get employees. So that's pretty key. And then the execution side, the grit and determination is very difficult. You get punched in the face. For 3 years, you've got to get back up and get punched in the face. It's a roller coaster, which can be fun, but sometimes it isn't. So you're looking to invest in people who are in it for the long term. And the other thing is intellectual agility, people who are smart, who can learn fast, and who can solve problems. Because you're looking for Swiss Army knives who can solve a lot of problems that may not be in their sort of expertise. So people who learn very fast and solve problems.
Yeah. I mean, you've all kind of talked quite a lot about passion there. Is there anything, kind of one thing in particular that gets you really excited about pitch?
Well, the pitch is trying to grab our attention to have a meeting. So some of that is substance and content, but some of it is just the way people come across. The quality of the way they present, the quality of the slides. So that matters as well. I'll let
I get the rough end of the stick here being in the middle, don't I? So apologies for the worst boy band you've ever seen. I look for honesty. Really I'd rather a founder who tells me they don't know the answer but they want to find out, and that with our help they can find out, rather than somebody who tries to wing it and then gives you a lot of spiel that you find out is not true. It just sends the red flags flying for us, and we tend to run away at that point. So honesty is a really important thing, authenticity in terms of who they are, just trying to be who they are really, rather than what they think you want to see, and also fun. As you mentioned, it's a tough ride, and actually you're going to see the best and the worst of each other along it if you're in it together. So we might as well get really personal in terms of enjoying this journey together, so that we can be there through the thick and the thin and enjoy the fruits at the end.
Yeah, couldn't agree more with what you kind of said there, guys. I think that from my side, I've seen some traps where people have gone out pitching and they lose the brand identity of themselves and of the brand they're building themselves, thinking they need to speak in a different vernacular when it goes out to investing. And actually, at the end of the day, we act from an investment point of view, you're actually working with them on a day-to-day basis and really tapping into their mindset and their cultural values. So important to see the real selves. I think the big question of why do you do what you do seems so simple, but that will always hold the test of time, in my opinion. So, that's a strong enough answer, and that's deep-rooted in the feelings and the virtues of the founder. Then when the times are tough, and there will be tough times, they've still got that resolve to go, yeah, I'm doing this for the right reasons, and I'm going to go and make this a success. Because I think if the why's not there, when that tough day comes, it's so easy just to pack up your bag and your briefcase. People don't have briefcase anymore. Satchels. And just head off home. So I think, it's hard to quantify, but I think that's why I love these face-to-face pictures, because once you look somebody in the eyes, you know for sure how much they really care about something. So
yeah, absolutely. And we've been talking a lot about the founders themselves, but I mean, a lot of guys here will be solo founders, or maybe there's just a couple of them. So how important is it that these guys surround themselves with people who've got that expertise that perhaps they don't have? You use the analogy of a Swiss Army knife, which I really like. Thinking about mentors or advisors, how important is that to that whole founding team?
Oh, it's absolutely crucial. I think that, speaking from experience, when I was building my team, I don't think I was honest enough with myself of where my gaps were in my expertise, and thinking I can cover all bases, but actually so important to kind of plug those gaps in the right way. I mean, I was going into a UV sector which I knew nothing about, and first thing I tried to do was bring in people with industrial experience in the hygiene sector who've been there for 30, 40 years. Now, completely different to me and very different mindset, but absolutely what I needed. I did the first 6 months myself. I thought, actually, you need to bring that in, and you're all part of a team, you're all playing different instruments in the band. It's very rare you see a successful venture which is someone playing the guitar, drums, keyboards and singing as well, and you're taking it in turns to do that. And so I think it's one of the most important things is having that, but it comes from having the honesty, as you say first, the introspection to say this is where the gaps are, and this is how, and then it's then the case of finding the right people to plug those gaps who are all on the same kind of train together.
Anything to add, Craig?
Just that it's okay to not know everything.
Yeah.
It brings me to one of our portfolio where we had a conversation with somebody who's invented polymers to coat seeds before they go in the ground that stops you needing to fertilise. And their first conversation was, I've got this invention, and I've got no idea how to commercialise it. And our response was, that's okay, I don't know how to invent a polymer. So we don't need to play all roles, we just need to do the bit that we're really good at. And that's why the honesty part is really important, is what do you need, I guess one of our portfolio would say, we can talk honestly with you and we don't try and sugarcoat it. You can tell us what do we know, and we can ask you in our language without fear of being harassed or made to look down on or anything.
As an investor, it's one of the signals I look at is the advisors or mentors that the founders have. Often it's a good signal to see what the quality is. If there's good people backing them, then there's a reason for that. So I do look at that.
And so thinking about traction now, lots of these guys are in a fairly early stage, and maybe haven't got those metrics. But what are you kind of looking for in terms of traction, particularly at this stage?
Most of the things I invest in are sort of, they haven't got product market fit yet. They're sort of on that journey, and at various stages. So some of them may have customers already that they're trialing with. Some have multiple customers, but there's a lot of hand-holding and a lot of support given to those customers, and it's not really at market rates. So they're feeling their way. I see that quite a lot. I do like to see some revenue, or obviously you want to see a product, you want to see have a demo. Other things I put much less weighting on, things like wait lists or surveys and things like that. I put much less weight. It's more about customers. Can these guys get customers? Can they get revenue? And that's what I'm looking for.
It's quite brutal. We look for. It might help that my background is really value proposition. So I look at something where they can tell me the story about why the world needs this or why the world needs another version of this. Because we can help them with everything else. When we surround them by that board they can't afford, they've got access to sales help, mentoring, funding, finance, CTO, CFO, etc. So really what we're looking for is somebody who's saying, we've got this early stage and some people are really interested in it, but we just don't know how to mobilise that. And we can refine that. We can refine that, absolutely.
Anything to add, Tom?
I would say it's all relative to the size and stage of the business. If you're going 6 months, but actually you've gone out to 2,000 people and got their feedback, I think that's fantastic traction at that period of time. If you've done that after 4 years, I've maybe got some questions. So that's where we'd look at it. And I think it's also relative to the market as well. I, again, put myself in the shoes of one of our Seedrs investors. We recently had a fantastic deal on the platform called Green Lithium. I don't know if anyone saw it, but did over £4 million worth of investment again for over 3,000 investors. Now these guys are still really early stage actually. They've got a fantastic team, but they're in an emerging market and an emerging sector, and I think sometimes the traction can be identified in the sector of industry they're in as much as it actually is in the business. There's the micro and the macro of it. But I think on the micro, it's actually laying out what that looks like, and we're really keen to understand yesterday, today and tomorrow. So what are they doing to build in a position today to make sure that they're going to have a better tomorrow? And so, it's really important for us to understand commercial pipeline too, because actually, if we look at the inflection points of valuations, our investors actually quite like getting in early, because if they can see that traction's on the horizon, they're getting in now, they actually can see a real uplift in that valuation over a period of time. So we have a whole segment of investors who come in different stages. Some people just hang around for the big deals, and you don't blame them. But actually, those on the roots, those on the ground, I think if you can demonstrate that traction in lots of different ways, then I don't think it's as simple or straightforward as just revenue. In our view, I mean, we're trying to look at it from a multi-dimensional point of view, really.
Great. I hope you're all taking notes because there's a lot of value in here. I'm just looking at Chris at the back to see how we're doing for time. We've got time to take a few questions from the audience. Excellent. Anybody got any questions for our lovely judges this evening? Don't be shy. Yes.
So I'm pre-revenue, and I would be estimating to be profitable. It would be a guess by doing that. So I have the concept and the platform, and the type of business I am, it's going for corporate sponsorship first of all. But once profitable, it's definitely a model that could take an investor. Would you advise waiting till I'm at that point before I start speaking with investors, or going in early to explain that, sort of get a gauge early and interest, or would you just wait until you're in a position to take investment?
So if anyone didn't hear, the question's about at what point should you go in and seek investment? Is it better to go in early, or should you wait until a certain point? So Tom, you look like you're ready to take...
I was there. I was going to say there's no harm in soundboarding investors at any stage. Even when you've just got an idea mulling around in your head, I think it's so important to get that feedback. I'd actually say, in my own experience as well, that no's are better than yeses sometimes, particularly this, because they will point you, like investors are honest and brutal and transparent because it's their cash at the end of the day. And so I think if you can, find people and you can have that honest relationship with them, I'd be encouraging you to always be talking, always be pitching, and then the right stage will come. And I think a little bit of that comes down to your growth plan of how quickly we want to move and where that funding gap potentially exists of you achieving the things you want to achieve in the time frame you want to achieve them in. So, profitability is a factor in that, but I'd also be looking at, the rate of scale that you're planning, onboarding these different partners and things. And an investor who can also bring you currency, but also can bring you advice, expertise, contacts, that is worth its weight in gold. And so I think it's lovely to pick and choose if you can, but strategic value, I think, for investors is so important for early stage as well, because that's where you can really feel the difference from their cash, not just their cash from that too.
Just to add to that, I would say informally speak to as many people as you can. Networking wise, talk to as many people, investors as you can, because as Tom said, it can even help you to shape that early proposition, or to not waste time, money and energy in shaping your product or service in a way that will send you down a rabbit hole. Formally, as in trying to get in front of someone who you want to be an investor, I'd say it's probably a bit more structured, a bit further down the line. But and I would also say pick the investors that are going to be right for your need and your product, rather than just cash from anyone. Because the ones that are in your space, in your sector, in your expertise, will probably be able to add more than just the cash as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I quite agree with all of that. I would be shameless in terms of talking to investors looking for advice. I would just talk to everyone, even if you're not ready. Just get it out there, and when you are ready, at least they know what you're about. So ask for help. Always ask for help. And most people, are prepared to give time. So I would be absolutely shameless.
There you go, be shameless, be annoying, get deals and losses. I think we've probably got time for one more quick one. Yes, at the front.
Hi, Kate. So where would you look for investors, or kind of your experience, where do investors hang out?
So for anyone in the back who didn't hear that, where do you look for investors? Where are these elusive creatures?
Well, this is a good place to start. I would put it very broad. All pitching events, accelerators, angel networks, VCs, incubators, accelerators. I would just put it fairly wide. But I wouldn't, with VCs, I wouldn't spend a huge amount of time unless you're VC ready and you can tick all the boxes. Otherwise, it's a big waste of time. And the fact that sort of their thresholds have moved up now means that the majority of sort of pre-seed startups would be too early for them. But in terms of getting angels, just these kind of events, pitching events, just getting it out there as widely as you can.
You'll probably find them at the bar, I would say. The ones that are crying over their drinks are probably the best place to find. But now, what Colin was saying was pretty accurate. I would get to know people because it is a relationship game at that early stage. So don't have a fixed agenda, don't try and pitch, just get to know people. Because they're human, they might not look it or even sound it sometimes, but they are humans, and generally, we were talking about this earlier, want to invest beyond just money because they care, they want to make a difference. They're at that altruistic stage where they can make a difference, and therefore they want to. And
everyone's a potential investor.
Yeah.
So you could meet someone at the bar. I've had people who I remember going for a drink with a guy. He was talking about his product with the barman, with the waitress. He went out for a smoke. He had a conversation there, looking for feedback. What do you think? You don't know, so just put it broad.
You might be classed as weird if you do.
Just to finish off, I actually met the chap who bought out my company in the pub 6 years prior, talking about West Bromwich Albion, and I took him to a game just as a randomer in the pub because we bonded over it, and then 6 years later he acquired my business. So it really did kind of start from there. And as you say, relationships, it didn't start, I didn't have a business at that point, I just started on football and then just kept in contact, and then he ended up being a really good contact at the time. But the other quick point I make is all about signposting, so investors can actually find you as well. We've seen people really leverage LinkedIn and kind of optimize their bios and things, saying raising SEIS investment right now, and so like investors also want to find good investment opportunities too. So putting yourself out there as well, it's a two-way business. So I think they're trying to find you as much as you're trying to find them.
Absolutely, as if anybody needed another excuse to go to the pub, right?
Yeah.
The LinkedIn gives us a fantastic ability to target people who can add real value. So don't be afraid to do that, because quite often these individuals are up for a discussion. And if you find someone in your space who gets your market, get your product, get your the growth, then quite often you can find them. I mean, I've just advised a business that's got Stephen Bartlett on board, and it was a direct pitch to him. So it does work.
Yeah, absolutely. LinkedIn is definitely your friend. Speaking of which, as we wrap up, where can everybody find you, guys?
Yeah, good point. Well, LinkedIn, Tom Field on LinkedIn, but we're in Shoreditch as well, Seedrs are, so, and we've just got a new office and we've got loads of croissants, so if you're ever, and a coffee machine and a tea machine, so if you're ever in Shoreditch, honestly, more than happy to serve you one of those, but LinkedIn, yeah, that's the best place for me.
At the bar.
Yeah.
Fine. No, LinkedIn as well. But we are local, so we're West Midlands based, so we're in the city. But LinkedIn's the best place to contact.
LinkedIn.
All right. Well, thank you very much, guys. And we had a few dropouts on the joking panel, so thank you very much for stepping in at the last minute. Yeah, much appreciated. Can we give a big hand for our
Sammy, that's brilliant. And yeah, just to reiterate Emily's point there, like Craig and Tom both sort of joined the judging panel with 24 hours to go. COVID is unfortunately back for the 15th time or whatever, so we really appreciate you stepping up at the last minute there. And on that note, we are actually missing one or two of our pitchers, which we haven't had happen yet, but they might be in the room and not checked in, amazing, but if they're not, we can skip by. We'll get on to the pitching now. There's a couple of things that we want you to do to kind of help the people that are getting up here and pitching. So if you've never done it before, it is really hard to get in front of a room full of people and try and explain what your business does, what you spend a night and day working on in 90 seconds. So that's a tough thing to do. And kudos to all of the founders that are pitching tonight. So in terms of supporting them, we just asked you to do three things really. So first thing is, sorry, should I have a drink before I come up here? When they are pitching, please don't talk. I don't think you do that anyway, but just in case, like it can be a bit off-putting if you look out and someone's chatting or whatever. The second thing is, as they come up on stage, just give them a massive round of applause, like get that energy level up, give them that encouragement so they're coming up here on a high. And then finally, when they finish their pitch, again, another round of applause. So let's get the energy high, make sure they feel appreciated and comfortable. And on that note, I'd like to welcome our first pitcher, which is, should just change the battery in this, is Adrian from Earth. So big round of applause.
Thank you everybody, it's a privilege to be here. First up, so I'll get cracking. So, welcome to Earth. We are an innovative challenger brand into the fast-growing breakfast on-go category, and we're on a mission to deliver a deliciously nutritious and sustainable breakfast. Earth was created when my son was born very prematurely. He was born at 28 weeks, suspected meningitis. To be honest, we didn't know if he was going to make it. So in the morning I was missing breakfast to go and see him. And it was during that time that I realised that there's millions of other people having the same problem with our busy lifestyles. Because did you know that in the UK we consume more breakfast cereal per person than any other country in the world? And on top of that, we have packed breakfast around over 90% of UK households. It's currently a £3 billion category within the UK. So I have a BSc and PhD in food science and nutrition. I've developed products for multi-million-pound brands, and I've got over 30 internationally granted patents. So I use that expertise to create the first product in the world that puts a whole bowl of cereal within a bottle. All of the other breakfast drinks effectively are dairy-based and don't contain any cereal at all. So Earth blends whole grain cereals with oat milk, and it's packed full of vitamins, 7 different B vitamins, high in calcium, high in fibre, and also contains 100% recommended daily intake of prebiotics as well. So it's amazing for your gut health. So in terms of our traction, we're on Ocado. We've been there for 6 months, already beating some of the major brands within the UK, and also on the major wholesaler as well. And we've got an amazing team behind me with ex-board members of Tesco, and we're currently raising £350,000. So I invite you to join us on our journey on Planet Earth. So thank you very much.
Way in the firing line there as the first judge. Nicely passed, Colin. Fantastic. I must admit, I did have a look at your website last night and saw your journey with your son. So, you know, really authentic in terms of where the origin story comes from. I guess it's quite a busy marketplace. You sound very qualified to deal with that. But how do you sell your product in terms of what else is in the market today differently? What's the big push for somebody to pick your product off the shelf as opposed to the others that are there?
So the key differentiators, there's two key differentiators that we have. One is the fact that we're the only dairy-based breakfast on-the-go brand in the UK. So that's number one, and the plant-based market is exploding, particularly within the beverage sector. You know, I think it's grown 6% year on year. So from that point of view, we've got something that there's so many young guys that are coming into the category and really want to open it up, and because the number of eco-actors, we call them, that actively want to make an active role in improving our environment and sustainability, more and more is coming in. So that's point number one. Secondly, is with the whole grain cereal level, the fact that we're, you know, a bit like a Huel, you know, we are using those authentic ingredients, but the difference is that we're half the price of Huel and offer not too dissimilar nutritional benefits. So we're offering an awful lot at a very, very competitive price point.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you what the price point was, and who is it targeted at? Is it adults, or is it the whole family, or children, or? Yeah, so primarily we do say that it could be for everybody. The price point is $165 on Ocado. From all our research, and you know, we were scoring on the purchase intent level. When I was in likes of Weetabix and Crafts, you get anything about 65%, you go and launch it. We got 77%, segments of vegans 91%, absolutely huge. And that was primarily among 18 to 24 year olds. But what we're seeing on Ocado is that mums are coming in, they're buying it to give it to their kids. So, you know, we're selling in Banbury, where I live. I first tried the products in there, we're selling 10 a week. And normally if you send one a day in a major superstore, you're doing well. So that really gave me the confidence to do it. And when we sold out after that first week, I said, what's going on? That can't happen. And they said, oh, the lady came in just buying it for her kids. So although it's primarily for that age group, people obviously, you've got other consumers that are coming into the category because they want to give their kids a delicious, nutritious breakfast in the morning.
I've got a bit of a two-parter, which is one, I can really see the alignment with Ocado, and have you considered, what's the roadmap looking for scaling out to other retailers?
Yeah.
And kind of combine with that on the commercial landscape. What's your kind of profile looking like from D2C, and is that a big play for you guys, do you think, going forward?
Sure, yeah. So the first part is, in terms of the traction that we've got, so we've got Ocado, absolutely brilliant, to start off with. We're already in talks with Tesco. I mean, the guys at Tesco obviously clearly have to open up the door there. Morrison's has the Sainsbury's. So we're talking to all of the big multiples. Holland Barrett, they tasted product, they got avocado, they then took they did like a little tasting, and then they contacted us to pitch to them. That went really well last week, and we're talking about doing a private label version. So we know that we've got the traction already building in the UK market, as well as talking to Sodexo as well. The investors that we have are also linked into the UAE, so we go abroad, and there's also a Whole Foods retailer in Ireland that are actually, and this is unheard of, actually taken our product and actively selling into Super Value and also Tesco in Ireland. So that's something normally you have to pay for, you get listed, then you start doing that, but they're actually doing that proactively for us because they see this guy knows his stuff and he really believes in what we're doing. So we've got that, and then from a D2C point of view, we haven't done much at the moment. That's part of the reason why we're doing the raise, because to get on TikTok and to start selling on TikTok and across social, that's huge. We haven't pushed an awful lot, but we're getting people actively coming to the website and then repeat purchasing as well. So we know that we're in a great position moving forward.
That's all the time we have for questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
To give up on the clicker, I think. So next up we've got Louise from Tweet Live.
Have you ever worried about money, how to manage it or how to grow it?
Have you wondered if you do enough exercise or been concerned about your mental health? I have. I suffered from anxiety and I did not tell anyone. Until one day, a man at work told me he wanted to take his own life. In that moment, I saw the power in sharing your experiences. The focus on well-being is huge, but where do you start? Do you go for a paid subscription or dive in for a quick fix? What if you could get curious about change? Find the tips and tools with no paid subscription. Well, now you can. My name's Louise, I'm the founder of Tweak Life, a multi-award-winning wellbeing hub. Our foundation is solid. I've spent 2,000 hours submerging myself in research, asking for feedback, going to start-up communities. I've expanded our team and I've made relationships with Money Helper and the NHS. We send out weekly newsletters to our community and our social media reach is extending by hundreds of thousands through collaboration. Our target audience is typically over 30 and a working parent. We're seeking these groups out, so with this in mind, following a pilot, our first campaign is targeting the 14,000 children nurseries in the UK. It's the first time that these nurseries and their 1.5 million parents have been supported at this scale. So I have two questions for you. Will you help raise awareness of our free wellbeing hub? Will you help us obtain corporate sponsorship so that we continue campaigns and helping millions of people across the UK? Thank you.
Great pitch. What is your business model? How do you intend to monetize?
Okay, so my background is a financial advisor, and when I first had this idea, I actually went to the company I worked for. Following going to somebody else, I, through lockdown, rang recruitment agencies and said, if I came to you from the position of being a financial advisor, offering this help, could I help your candidates coming through, in doing so taking financial lead, so reviewing their pension at the time that they're changing jobs. He gave me feedback that if I was going in as a financial advisor, he would feel that that is a conflict of interest, but if I came to him independently, that he would feel more comfortable with that. So I decided rather than doing it from being within a business, that I would do it independently. So as a financial advisor, I've seen the cost of lead generation and conversion, and also I've sold protection for years, and you see that people will pay thousands for a car, hundreds for a phone, but they won't protect their salary. And my friend's husband passed away when their baby was 18 months old. So sometimes people don't know that they have a need until it's put in front of their face. So the business model would work on a solid foundation of giving the help, but then if putting the business hat on is through lead generation, which already exists, but it's qualifying those leads, so through a scorecard, so filtering out the ones that might need the help through Money Helper and the tools that we have there, or the ones that we could pass on for lead generation financial services, as well as affiliate marketing. So in lockdown, that's when I went to NHS and Money Helper and said, this is what I'm thinking of doing. They were on board, got syndication with them, so their tools were embedded. They were until the host closed my whole site and I lost all my content. That's a separate story, but they are going back on. The affiliate market route, I went to BHSF. They have 1 million users, they're an employee wellbeing product. So explained to them, and now I'm an introducer for them. So I knew I could get being an introducer for a wellbeing app. So for example, that's 12.5% of monthly subscriptions. So we're building a solid foundation of giving the help that is absolutely needed. Going for corporate sponsorship, I do believe that businesses have the ability and the funds to support such a venture. However, I was an auditor for a local government, saw all frontline services taken away. It's such a needed service that we want to create a sustainable business model so that we're not reliant on the government who could take that funding away from us, but we're really intentional in building a solid foundation so that we can sustain our business going forward.
Just
Craig McVoy.
Awesome. I just want to say that I absolutely love the kind of the story of how you've put this together. You know, it's brilliant what you're doing, and also like the fact that you've got that map of how this grows. I mean, from your perspective, where would you love the company to be in kind of like 12, 18 months' time? Like, what's the vision? What's the pathway? Just be curious to understand that a little bit further.
Okay, so this has been shaped as it's gone along. We were really intentional that the help needed to be there. So when I had postnatal depression, you're on Google at 3 a.m, looking at something to help you. So it's about seeking those people out. So not just relying on socials and that organic reach, going to the communities. I see it like an umbrella. So we have done a pilot with a children's nursery. They have a link with early years for a county. So now, instead of having to go to every nursery within the county, we go to the early years and we onboard that way. And we can continue to do that with other pockets of people. So I like football. Today I've been speaking with a guy who has many connections with Liverpool, and another campaign is to go to the supporters of football, because then you're going to larger groups to scale more. We've been speaking with a tech company that have been bought by a Fortune 500 business, and that arm of the business they have a big UK sector and employees, and also Eastern Europe. So we're talking of the only thing we have to swap out to go international is the UK part, it's the financial part. So it's how we know that we're building a foundation that could go in another country. Yeah.
Perfect.
Just before we carry on, I wanted to check if we've got Gerard or somebody from Symbiotech. Guessing not, because they were unsure. Okay, yeah, if we could go on to if we could go on to Aaron from TheFitnessPortal. And Aaron, if you want to say something, fantastic.
Hi, I'm Aaron. I'm a software developer and I am a bodybuilder. Now, I want to start with a question. Has anybody here ever struggled with weight loss or trying to improve their performance in the gym, whether it's getting fitter, faster, stronger, all those things? Yeah, there we go. There is a never-ending supply of information. Now, I'm a former competitive bodybuilder up until about 3 or 4 years ago. I had the same conundrum. Every bit of advice out there was generic, it was one size fits all. Until about 7 years ago, I discovered sports performance DNA testing. Now, fast forward to 9 months ago, I paired up with a geneticist and, using my skills as a software developer, launched TheFitnessPortal. What we were able to do is use the early research, more updated research from 7 or 8 years ago, better algorithms and better technology to deliver more accurate, more consistent and more beneficial, should we say, DNA results. On top of which, we launched 4 months ago, and we partnered up with a leading innovative UK supplement company. We've also partnered up with a digital agency to release this to the masses. Now, back then when I did my DNA test, the technology was, as I say, the testing was in its early stages. We're now at a point where this is working correctly, efficiently, as it should be, and we're ready to launch. We've launched in the UK 4 months ago. We've sold close to 50 DNA tests, and we're ready to take this to the EU and also the US. Yeah, that's it.
Thanks, Aaron, and loving your energy for this all as well, and because I think obviously you seem like you've built a team with the right expertise and insight for delivering something like this. I mean, I'd be curious to understand what makes this brand win in the marketplace for supplements, because I see a lot kind of out there in terms of Instagram and ads. I don't know why I'm being targeted for some reason, but I'd really love to understand where you guys see that competitive advantage and how you see yourselves winning out there.
Right, we're not a supplement company. We do the DNA tests. So we've partnered with we partnered with a supplement company because part of our testing tells people where they are genetically deficient, so in certain vitamins, but also supplements where they can benefit. So things like ashwagandha, people might not have never heard of it. We give people there's a very easy trap to fall into to waste tons of money, and believe me, I've done it, on supplements. And the fact is, they don't always work. Whereas our test tells people exactly what they are genetically suited for, so it saves money, but also it's great for elite level athletes who are looking to tweak and get the last few percentage of performance out, but then also people who are just getting into the gym. It cuts out all of the guesswork, it puts them on the right path, but also as well, the health aspect is massive because it can save a lot of pitfalls in terms of what they do. Yeah.
And sorry, just to follow on really quickly, once someone gets the results of this, the impact is that they'd have better decision making.
Yeah, it's funny actually, we had a guy up in Scotland who was a bodybuilder, admittedly. He bought a test for himself and his wife, and he's one of the markers on there is your VO2 max. Now he discovered he's genetically very gifted for it. He took up cycling 5 weeks ago, and he's improved his time week on week on week, and he's now at sort of a very good cycling level. How he's measured that, I'm not too sure. He was explaining, but kind of went in one and the other. But essentially, he didn't realise he's genetically very gifted towards being a cyclist.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stories we've had like that where that's been the case, which is quite interesting. As I say, for me, I really struggled to get into competitive bodybuilding shape, which is low levels of body fat whilst maintaining muscle mass. The very early stage testing 7-8 years ago answered a lot of questions. Now the tests are more accurate. Those are sport-specific, low-array DNA tests, and they are tailored for sports performance. So we've partnered with a company who do the test kits. We've partnered with a digital agency helping us get it out there. And as I say, we've got a financial director, we've got a sales guy, and there's me as the tech lead, and we've also got the geneticist as well.
Thanks. You've mentioned a lot of partners there.
Yeah.
Which bits will you own?
All of it. At the moment, all of it, yeah.
Okay.
So the DNA test company supplies with the test kits. We buy those off them at a discounted rate. We've employed a digital agency to help us with advertising and social media and that sort of stuff in terms of paid advertising to get out to as many people as possible. The technology I built from scratch, I'm a software developer, and the geneticist is a friend of mine who's working on it with us. Yeah.
So when you say the technology is yours that you built, and so what level of IP is involved in the product?
The algorithms, again, we own, because again, my partner, the geneticist, came up with them. The software I built myself, every single line of code is written by me, so we own the whole lot.
The last bit for me is about what's the market of competition in this space?
That's where we're very unique, because other DNA testing companies are essentially white labelling an existing solution. We've got over 70 markers at the moment, and that's ever increasing. All of our algorithms are built by our geneticists, and they are based on research, heavily studied, heavily backed, and very confident in that.
So you sell this test, you sell it once, and then you get recurring revenue from it?
Yes, that's it. So the way it works, essentially, your DNA never changes. You're born with it, you die with it. On top of which there is epigenetics, which is another something we're working on that nobody else in the world has ever done because the research is that fresh. But yeah, so once people have bought the DNA kit, we've got a supplement company who we're partnered with, who we resell supplements to people through the TheFitnessPortal.
We have time for a very quick question. Is there anything else?
Is that in terms of monetization then? Could you have an opportunity to monetize across different areas of your value chain?
Yes, this is the thing, because it's sports performance, it applies to so many different aspects of everything to do with sports. At the moment, we're trying, because of my background, it's kind of tailored towards bodybuilders at the moment, in terms of that's who we've gone for. But we're speaking to football teams, we're speaking to other Asians, boxing clubs. We're trying to get this out to as many people as possible, which is where the sales companies come in.
Thank you. You managed to skip through that one.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, thanks everyone. So the next up is Kate from Respace.
Hi everyone. So why is it normal to drink 5 coffees a day? Why is it normal for a team to overload on sugar to get through? We don't think this should be normal. While working in finance and consulting, we realize this is part of the larger systemic issue. And we're here to revolutionize the world of work by introducing more healthy rest habits. So just 20 minutes of rest can help sharpen your memory. It can help reduce your chances of heart disease by up to 37%, and it can improve your focus. Rest is a fundamental component of success. But we found the problem is 88% of people have nowhere to rest at work. While struggling to find a place to rest for years and recharge, we have decided to build our own, a space of tranquility and calm, the best nap pod. Our rest spaces are built using sustainable materials with every detail meticulously crafted to enhance your rest. So we're working with our customers to help shift this paradigm, to embrace rest, to improve productivity and well-being. So I'm Kate Mulligan, CEO of Rest Space, with a background in tech and finance. My co-founder, Suprashant Stool, COO, has a background in pharmaceutical consulting. We also both have over a decade's worth of experience in the service industry. Today we're asking for $250,000 in SEIS to help grow and accelerate our business. To date, our last financial year closed off with $87,000 in revenue, and we've bootstrapped this far. Our first customers were TfL, Transport for London, and the NHS. So we have 372 million potential if we're in just 2% of the offices in the UK. And we're looking for big thinkers to help us with our vision to improve the workplace well-being for healthier, more productive workplaces. Thank you.
Great pitch there. Can I ask two different questions really? One is about the hygiene aspect. I'm not sure I'd want to follow some of my colleagues into a rest space. So how do you handle that side of the business first and foremost? And what's the margin model in terms of per unit that you operate at today?
So for hygiene, that's one of the top questions we get, and it's one of our top priorities. I think, Dan, we're going to come talk to you about your UV solutions. That's been something we've been looking into.
Okay.
But our products are coated in antibacterial microbial coating. So this is our white clean mattress, as well as our finishings of the whole product. This is hospital grade, currently the solution used for most hospital furniture. We also kind of provide a cleaning station, so if someone does want to wipe it down afterwards, it's just a really quick wipe down. But really our recommendation is it's included in your current office cleaning routine. We've got ventilation in there that circulates the air, so after 10 minutes, completely new air that's in the product too.
So with the UVC, I did quite extensive research into it during COVID because we started pre-COVID, and because who wants to be in a sleeping pod during COVID, we did look into UVC, but the integration of it into our product at the time and at the stage that our company were at was quite unfeasible, and of course with UVC, I think it's quite unsafe on human skin as far as I understand.
It depends on the product, but yeah. We can speak later about that, yeah.
And then on the margins, so each of our rest bays, we make approximately 48% gross margin.
Sorry to interrupt, would you just mind moving that way just a touch? There is a camera off me. Thank you, carry on.
Yeah, I also thought really great pitch, and great to kind of hear some of the traction you're going through as well. Again, also a bit of a two-parter. I presume you guys have one of these rest spaces at your offices as well for your team.
We're currently in a co-working space.
Right, yeah.
We did have it in our previous offices.
Right, okay, yeah, which makes sense. And then the second part was, just wanted to break down that 87k revenue. So in terms of, was that made up of just TfL and NHS, or what was the landscape of that 87k?
So that's revenue and grants.
Yeah, okay.
So more than half of it comes from TfL.
Right, okay. So actually building into next year, because obviously TfL and NHS are quite big players, what's the route looking like in terms of just onboarding other businesses, and are they going to be of a similar size to TfL and NHS?
Yes, our main target audience is corporate offices, so we are looking into growing tech companies. We're looking into legal professional services. Both of us coming from the professional services market see that as the primary space to go. With the return to work, we're seeing it as an attraction to bring people back to work. Over the last 3 years, a lot of us have started to value our rest time, our napping habits, and we want to go back to an environment that supports that. So corporate is our main growth, but there is the health and safety element that we see within organisations such as NHS, travel sector, that we also want to service.
When did you launch the product?
Yes, so our B2B product, we launched it March 2021. Yeah, March 2021.
And apart from hygiene, what other sort of issues come up with when you're trying to sell this to corporates?
Yeah, so one of our key design features is building something that fits into the space within your organisation. So a lot of organisations cannot afford to have a dedicated room or dedicated space in order for their employees to rest, but they know that rest is important. Our competitors at the moment need that private space or separate room because they don't have soundproofing, they don't offer privacy. So our product's being designed for that solution, so it can go in any existing space or any well-being spaces you have in your organisation.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's all we've got time for. Thank you. So next up we've got Dan from MEXI-KIT.
So, 6 months ago, I quit my job at Deliveroo to follow my passion for Mexican food. My mother used to sell little gifts of happiness, and 2 years later, I find myself following her legacy, selling good times of food fiestas. In America, Mexican food is huge, but in the UK, it's just getting started. Supermarkets full of little yellow boxes, full of preservatives, and don't taste of anything. Mexican food is the most undersupplied cuisine on all delivery platforms, but has more searches and demand than ever before. That's why I started MEXI-KIT, the UK's first pre-prepared Mexican meal kit, an alternative to restaurant dining, which can be expensive and accessible for all. Fast forward 6 months, we've got over 1,000 customers, a community of 3,000 people online, and over 500,000 TikTok and Instagram views. We are also sponsored by the On a Mission podcast. Our team has also doubled. We took on Sam, who's an expert marketer, who has grown hundreds of 6- and 7-figure businesses. My background is in restaurant sales, strategy and growth, but I was fed up of growing everyone else's restaurant and thought I'd do a better job myself. We secured a grant from Simon Squibb, who's running the final, and we are primed to launch a virtual kitchen franchise model, which is going to be an on-demand food service using Deliveroo, my area of expertise, piggybacking distribution from around the country. I'm armed with a little black book of industry contacts to help us on that journey, but with your expertise, we're going to rapidly scale and provide great Mexican food, meal kits and more.
So these are meal kits that people cook at home.
Oh yeah, so think like HelloFresh, Gusto, but very Mexican, somewhere around that.
And then, so you prepare these sort of in a dark kitchen and then they're taken out by delivery and people cook at home?
No, so at the moment, I forgot to mention then, sort of a bit fast, Simon's investment helped us build a prep kitchen, and now we've got the prep kitchen, we're just doing direct to consumer, it's kind of how we bootstrap the whole thing. Whereas now we're going to go back into like a dark kitchen, Deliveroo-esque franchise model, instead of high costs of starting our own all around the country. We're going to piggyback off the contacts I've got in the industry, and they're going to have like a virtual franchise of our brand.
And how will consumers find you?
Oh, well, we're very, well, I'd say, we're very good on TikTok, Instagram, huge on organic growth. Sam obviously drives our PPC and all that kind of business, but I love being in the TikTok, I love when there's some Guerrero on it, doing stupid things, but yeah, that's how we can.
Why Mexican?
Yeah, good question. Because, well, I'd say I'm a mean cook, I'm a pretty decent cook. Mexican food is something I love. It's something that, when you think about good times, having people around, you think, oh, Mexican. Like, quite often we'd entertain, and I'd be like, let's go Mexican. It kind of fit quite naturally, it fits with the good times, fulfilling my mum's legacy, which was selling happiness, which kind of Mexican food shifts really nicely into. So, yeah.
And some pretty strong traction today. in there, so well done. What's the next level for you, and what support do you need to get there?
So I think obviously volume, but we want to move into different sectors, I guess. So we've just launched catering. So imagine that catering out there with just a taco stand, be much better, wouldn't it? So that's huge because it's recurring revenue. It's consumers a bit all over the place, especially at the moment. And this virtual franchise model will be huge because it gives people a hot food alternative to the meal kit. So the meal kit's more experience led, whereas this hot food is quick. People have it for their lunch delivery. Obviously, working there is huge. It's everywhere. We kind of want to pursue into an option for all customers and have, like, I guess, 100% coverage of the UK, or as much of hot food as we can. We already do it for meal kits, but I think as much hot food coverage as possible. So.
Thank you. And I would say it's the first picture I've ever seen with a sombrero on. And I have to say, I'm here for it. I love it. I think it's brilliant. My question would be, in terms of growing and having that customer alignment and connection, you know, what is it the brand values which is going to set you apart from other places, do you think, where actually customers not only enjoy the brand but think, I want to go and consume there, I want to go and eat there. So I'd be really curious to understand, as you scale nationally, how you maintain a connection with the brand so playfully at that scale, because it feels fantastically set up on a local basis, but just wondering how that transcends as you grow.
I think what we've found great success in at the moment is community. Like, obviously that's driven through TikTok, Instagram, all of that, which can be quite scalable, obviously. We provide, like, not just an experience, but it's like knowledge, constantly sharing recipes. You've got like a community of like devout taco lovers. It's quite strange, but we love it. So yeah, just more community led. Sounds quite cliche, but I think Mexican food isn't really understood. Like I said, the little yellow boxes. That's all people know is going to the supermarket. There's a full shelf. It's not really Mexican food. I think people like to find out. I was speaking before about what Mexican food actually is and how it's missed in the UK, and I think people enjoy learning about, especially if they're foodie.
Yeah. And with that level of kind of curiosity towards the brand and education, how do you drive that with accessibility as well? So, you know, you are somewhere that they can, you know, participate in the brand and consume the brand as well. I mean, is it just the delivery route, or what are there other kind of market strategies you've got?
Yeah, I think delivery is great because well, not just delivery, there is other delivery providers.
Yeah.
But you can kind of be anywhere. We kind of hammer the accessibility with food and meal kits because that's, you can ship to everywhere. Obviously, we'd like to launch into different countries. Ireland's probably the first bet. But yeah, it's more from what we've started with is the accessibility route.
Yeah. And hopefully you take that community with you. Yeah, it sounds like a really engaged community, so it's awesome.
Thank you. There you go.
Join me on the stage.
Thank you, everyone. My name is Christian. Now, 1 in every 4 person in the emerging economy suffer from chronic pain, and that's almost 250 million people, and that's a very huge market. Last year, in 2022 alone, the transaction in Africa alone was almost $4.2 billion in chronic pain medications. Now, but most people are dying from those medications in Africa. About 70% of mortality in the world is in Africa. Most of the patients are unable to access the medication. It's a little bit expensive because of the inflation rates, and the cost of the medications are continually increasing. And not just that, the health insurance level is still very low, just about 2.19%, which means most people still have to pay for the medication from their pockets. And of course, most of the healthcare providers do not have reliable access data so that they can access some form of loan to help them improve on their business model and expand their businesses. Now, what we're trying to do at Technology is that we're helping these healthcare providers, because we can access the patient directly, But because they purchase their medication from the healthcare providers, which are either the hospitals or the pharmacies, we help the hospitals and pharmacies have access to what we call impact medication suppliers, who come on our platform and help supply this medication for between 12 to 15% discount the standard prices of those medications. And then in return, we hope that these discounts can be transferred to those patients when they buy this medication. Thereby, every time the patients buy the medications from any of these healthcare providers, they tend to save costs over time. And that's because these medications will be used for the rest of their life. So they save costs every time they buy medication through the healthcare providers that buy on Turnkey platform. And on the other side, through the data we're able to get from the healthcare providers, we're able to stack and connect them with what we call impact low interest rates, which are some of our partners. With that, they can get this interest at very low percent so they can help to expand the business. And that's exactly what I'm telling you, Pharma. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your pitch, and brilliant to hear about the business as well. Could you share some colour on the profile of the team and the people you've got kind of backing you at this moment in time, and what that looks like?
All right. Myself, I have 10 years experience in pharmaceutical background, and also have experience in the AI industry as well. So that's why we're incorporating the AI into our platform actually. And then also have Daniel Evans, who is actually director at Birmingham Enterprise Community, one of our mentors. And then we also have Herman, who is also is an accountant actually with Herman Associates in London. He's also one of the mentors on our platform as well. So both of them are helping us, guide us in order to provide this reliable platform to help provide these services to healthcare providers in the national economy.
Awesome. Thank you very much. What's the difference in your platform, I guess, in terms of offering other aspects to market in terms of buying these products? Why couldn't someone else copy what you're doing?
That's very good. Now, when we say initially, we only started looking at helping them get access to this medication at low interest, low cost. But we also found that some people are doing that as well. Although we went ahead to try to get more impact-based suppliers, and that's why if you're going to supply medication through our platform, you need to commit to selling those medications for up to 15% discount. So we're offering a better discount offer than most other suppliers or other companies. That's number one. And then we also discover that if a potential healthcare provider knows that you can also help them grow their business by providing them those low interest loans, because they will definitely, to access loans, the interest rate is always high, between 15 to 20%, which is quite heavy on the business. But with our own partners, they can get it to as low as 5%, which is adding more value to the business. And in fact, we started just in the last 6 months. When we introduced that particular concept of the low interest in the last 2 months, our customer adoption rate improved from just about 6-7% initially to about 17%. So we saw that that particular component helped in customer adoption. And then in addition, we're also working towards getting a partnership with some of the regulatory bodies, which is very important. As a matter of fact, on the 23rd of this month, I'll be presenting with one of the DGs of the regulatory agency in London. He's coming to London actually for an event, and we had agreed to meet. And if we get a partnership, what it means is that our potential competitors become our partners, because we have secured a partnership through the regulators that can enable us help their customers. Invariably, their adopted customers who are having a problem, we can help them solve it. And that will help shoot our customer adoption rate to 85%. That's exactly what we're doing.
Could you give some more colour on your traction so far and your target markets?
Yes. Now, in the last 6 months, the first month we didn't really do much, and the second month, but as soon as we began to give these offerings, we have done about $57,000 so far now. As a matter of fact, last 2 weeks alone, we did almost $8,000 to $10,000 just in 2 weeks, and that's just the first we are doing so far. And we thought it was connected to that fact that we're beginning to see the fact that we can actually help the investments their businesses grow through those loans as well.
That's the time of questions. Okay, next up we have Flux Aviation.
Hi everyone, my name is Helvan Gallo. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Flux Aviation. In this world of growing division and global conflict, we have decided to start Flux Aviation to build a more connected future. A world where everybody has access to low-cost and zero-emission transportation options, giving them access to better healthcare, better education, better career opportunities. That is why at Flux Aviation, we are building a future where everybody is flying more, not less, using lower cost and zero-emission electric aircraft. I am a chartered aerospace engineer with experience from Formula One, and my co-founder Neil has spent years developing high-performance electric motors at Dyson. Together, and with a lot of support from Innovate UK, we have developed a very unique battery pack design that is key to enabling electric flight. Today, in any of your electric cars, if anything happens to your battery, you can always stop by the side of the road and jump out. You don't have the luxury when you're cruising 30,000 feet in the air. So our patent-pending battery modules are not only incredibly lightweight, but they are also extremely safe to make sure we meet and exceed all aviation safety standards. We are starting by electrifying the training aircraft market, but our ultimate goal is to decarbonize all domestic and regional flights. These are some of the most polluting flights today, with all journeys shorter than 500 miles together adding up to over 20% of all aviation emissions. We have already successfully demonstrated our technology on the ground, and now we are working directly with aircraft manufacturers to transition to flight testing. We are on track to have our first electric aircraft fly early next year. So we believe the future of flight is electric. Let's build it together. Thank you.
It's not an area I know anything about. So is this batteries for new planes that are being built, or are you?
So basically, our unique technology is the batteries. But what we are actually planning to commercialize and sell is what you can imagine as a retrofit kit, essentially. We are putting together a package of an electric motor, power electronics, batteries, avionics, all together, so that an aircraft manufacturer can just bolt it on as a direct replacement. They don't have to modify the airframe, they don't have to recertify it. It's just a direct replacement for the original engine.
Wow. And is this for light aircraft or big aircraft or?
So right now, our prototype aircraft that we just bought last month is a two-seater light aircraft, specifically targeted for flight training, flying schools, aero clubs, things like that. But all the technologies we are designing have a level of scalability, and we want to get to sort of a regional airline level, like what Flybe used to fly, and electrify that kind of aircraft and connections. Yeah.
So what would be the largest aircraft that you would see this on?
So roughly a 2-engine, 50-seater regional aircraft.
Okay, great.
There's a few people I'd like to put on that first flight, if you could. Yeah, something like that. I think it's really clever what you're doing. My natural fear would be around weight, as you've pointed out. I guess the Formula One aspect of working with lightweight construction is critical there. But I also would imagine that you've got quite a heavy regulatory responsibility to get you through that. How are you tackling that challenge? And then the second question is, have you spoken to any of the big guys like Rolls-Royce and Boeing and those types of businesses about what you can do, because their expertise can help with that?
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of weight, there's definitely a challenge and it's part of the trade-off. So when we convert a typical aircraft to electric, we go from 3 hours range on full fuel tank to maybe 90 minutes or 120 minutes of flight time. So you lose a bit of performance. That's why we are targeting industries where they are never pushing the envelope. So all these domestic and regional flights, if you think about in UK alone, last year 12 million people flew on domestic flights. UK is not that big. The biggest flight that can still be considered as domestic is only 300 miles long. So all of those well within our capability, even with the mass penalty. In terms of regulations. My previous startup where I worked for 5 years was in medical devices. So a lot of that experience is very transferable to aerospace. And that's part of the reason why we chose this strategy of starting with training aircraft, sort of general aviation, light aircraft, gaining experience there, proving the technology, proving the safety case, and then scaling it organically to larger and larger types over time.
And the players in the industry, sorry,
Yeah.
have you spoken with those?
Absolutely. We spoke to a few of the large players, not the size of Boeing or Airbus, because that's where the technology does not scale. They are at different end of the spectrum, so they're not really interested in batteries. But some of the regional transportation aircraft, companies like ATR, Bombardier, Embraer, I've already had a discussion with, and they are sort of seeing this as the pathway to net zero for themselves.
I love what you're bringing to market here. I think it's fantastic. I think it's on the money as well that it's retrofit, because it doesn't give people an excuse to kind of say no. I think you're in the business of conversations for sure. A couple of things I had was, it seems quite capital intensive to kind of bring this to market. So what's kind of like your funding landscape looking like? I know you've got Innovate UK, but how much money do you guys need to really kind of commercialise this?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, because it's such a long development timeline, a lot of risk, deep tech project, we've been leveraging government grants, Innovate UK, ATI, similar. They definitely help, but they don't fund product development, they fund technology development. So now to commercialize it, we raised our first round of investment earlier this year. Our pre-seed round of 250k that basically is paying for the flying prototype development and the conversion of our first airplane. But then to bring it to market, we are looking to raise about £2.5 million to basically turn that prototype into a commercial product that can be sold in the European market.
Awesome. And my last one would be, what do you estimate to be the size of the market opportunity once this pilot comes to life? You know, obviously there's a clear route to market of kind of scaling into the likes of your Flybees and your regional airlines, but have you quantified that, the size of that market opportunity?
So just to talk step by step, so even in the sort of training aircraft, light aircraft market, the powertrain market is about £2 billion. And then when you scale it to sort of regional transportation aircraft, turboprops and large piston engines, that's about £15 to £20 billion market.
Wow. So what would, roughly speaking, sorry, last question would be, what's the price point of a full project that you're kind of fitting in onto an aircraft, you know, kind of, where would you estimate that price point to be?
So for a typical two-seater, we are talking about £40,000 for a conversion package.
Yeah.
To put some background context into it, so the original combustion engine we're replacing costs about 25k. So it's about 1.5 times more expensive to purchase outright, but then you make the money within 2 years of operating by saving on fuel, saving on maintenance costs, and having more reliable aircraft.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Final thing tonight, we've got Meka Toys.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is Dominica. I'm the CEO of Meka Toys. The reason Meka Toys exists is because both myself and our founder, CEO Helen, have come from different backgrounds where we couldn't speak English. We struggled with education and resources to improve our learning. The main problems in schools right now, however, is there's lack of emphasis on teaching children about cultural heritage. So we are aiming to improve that through launching a gaming app that will teach children about cultural heritage and of course fostering a lifelong love of learning. Our aim is to do so through gaming as well as cultural books and events. And our target audience will be secondary schools onwards as well as families, communities, or long-term institutions. We have a subscription-based model which is affordable and of course accessible worldwide. We are aiming to raise £250,000 through our launch days, initial subscriptions, as well as books on cultural education and events. We have currently coming up an event with Virgin Media to kind of promote and provide education for our communities in Birmingham. We are asking for £80,000, which will be used for sales and marketing plans and further app development as well as gaming development. And of course, we are asking for a mentor to assist us in this journey. The reason the team has come together is because Helen does have an excessive background in business herself. with a passion to solve lack of resources in education through tech as well, and she's a board member for Generation, who assists youth with employability. Myself, I'm also from a business background with sales experience and passion for public relations, as well as education, learning, and content creation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, loving the kind of like the personal enthusiasm for what you're bringing to market here. And my mum was a teacher, so this naturally kind of like struck a chord. So I was wondering if you could talk us through a little bit more the product and how that looks and how that feels and what the experience is, you know, for someone using that, because I'd be really curious to just get a better feel. It's a shame with these slides because you only get the brand. I'd love to see understand the product a bit further.
Of course. So we will be launching our MVP literally next month. So we have a launch day on the 18th of October. We have a prototype ready. So essentially it will be education through gaming to begin with. Of course, we're in a sort of era even where everybody's on social media, everybody's on a phone, especially children. And of course through the fact that a lot of parents have to homeschool kids as well, a lot of them will turn to social media platforms or being online. So we wanted to sort of gamify the education and allow children to learn when they pick up the phone, when they pick up the iPad. So we will begin with obviously apps. We're beginning with teaching on culture. Long term, we obviously want to add different subjects such as coding, expand that further. We are also working on creating books as well, maybe for the younger children as well, where they can learn for quizzes. Again, all is based on culture as well. And yeah, events as well. Events is also another factor. We've also run a few events already with a couple of schools where they had cultural days. So some of the prototypes already had, some of the games we had, we would use those and teach the classes. And again, the response is fantastic. Kids love seeing things that move. Kids love engaging and clicking buttons. So that's what we're beginning, that's what it looks like as well.
Awesome, thank you. And actually with this kind of rolling out then, who drives the participation of your events and of your applications? Is that school-led, is that parent-led? How do you envisage maintaining the kind of active engagement of your community?
So it will be currently a sort of more parent-led as well. Like I said, we have had events in schools, so we've had gained some interest from that side, but a lot of it would be like kind of communities, parents, local sort of interest as well. We've had several different pop-ups already, of course we discussed what Meka Toys would look like. We have created a little waiting list. It's not nothing major, but we've got 60 people already on there kind of on a waiting list. A majority is sort of, we're aiming to reach more people through social media. We don't currently have anyone sort of managing that side of things, where this is where we would hope you would come in and assist us with reaching that out a little bit more. That's kind of our main struggle, I would say. So we're hoping to reach more through social media. And of course with the launch day, it will just obviously hopefully be a talk of town and word of mouth as well. Essentially everybody's hoping to have a product where you'll tell your neighbour to tell a neighbour and tell a neighbour and take it from there.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Can you expand upon what age range is this aimed at in terms of the community, and why culture? Why is culture such a prominent piece? And then last part on that is, how does that fit into the curriculum that they're learning in schools?
I'm so grateful for that question. So initially we starting with secondary schools, and of course we want to expand that a little bit kind of further down the line. We do want to maybe take it to younger students and older students once we have more subjects on board. But I think a lot of kids are a little bit more attentive to kind of the different cultures that are around them from sort of secondary schools onwards, so year 7 onwards. How that fits into the national curriculum, so it's not really taught in schools. There's not much education on culture, and that's the problem. And the reason it is because both myself and that was a struggle. I come from Pharma and I couldn't speak English when I came to the UK. Helen had zero education due to kind of growing up with lots of health issues, so she's come not being able to speak at all now, having to learn a whole different foreign language, jump into school. It was very difficult for us to relate with people and allow people to relate with us. So we wanted to, first of all, get that familiarity for culture, the different reasons for how people learn, the way they learn, and then obviously allow that to expand to the younger generations. I hope that answers the question.
Much outside the question, so thank you so much. That brings us to the end of our pitches for tonight. If I could just remind the judges to split those forms as quickly as possible, so Emily and Sean that will be working out who the winner is for tonight, and we'll hear about them in a moment. I just want to take a minute to thank our partners, so the organisations that make it possible for us to run the pitch programme and the value that they give to the community. So we are able to keep the pitch completely free for everyone that takes part because of the support, and they each bring something to the community, so it gives something back to the founders that take part. So first we have Curry's Business. They allow you to buy all of the hardware you need to run your startup. So everything from the basics like your laptop, but also audio, visual equipment and that kind of thing. So some of the cameras you see today, Courtney even had to run down there earlier to buy an audio cable. So they are fantastic and really helpful. They've also allowed us to create a video on, a course on doing short form videos. So if you are looking to grow your Instagram Reels or your TikTok following, have a look at the pitch homepage, and you can take that course completely for free. There's 3 modules and it'll give you everything you need to know to scale your social following. Secondly, we have Vodafone Business, and they run an amazing initiative called VHub. So VHub allows you to book free mentoring and coaching calls. So it could be something like you need some help with your finance, or your marketing, or even to work on your pitch, and you can go and book a session with one of those experts completely free of charge, and you don't need to be a customer either. So again, if you are looking for some help, some advice with your business, check out the pitch homepage, and we've got a link there that will take you directly through to book a session. There's as well as lots of advice and content that you can use immediately. We've also got Sage, who support the pitch for the last 3 years. They particularly helped us around the founders that are either running their business as a side hustle or they're solopreneurs, so they're one-person teams. I've been both of those things, and it is really, really difficult to navigate your personal finances, your work-life balance, and so on. So we created a hub for people running side hustles and solopreneurs, and we just deep dive on some of those issues I mentioned. So maybe you need some practical advice on how to have a better work-life balance, or sort of be a bit healthier, or maybe improve your finances. So if you are in that position, please do go and check out our hub. We've also got Agora. So Agora specialise in recruiting into fast growth fast growth companies, and also into VC firms. So if you are at that stage where you're trying to rapidly build a team, maybe you just closed a round, or the revenue's looking really good, they can help you, and they've worked with some amazing businesses and well-known names. They're also running an initiative at the moment to help people that are right at the beginning of their journey. So every year they help about 6 founders completely free of charge, just starting out. And they work with them to look at sort of who their first few hires should be. So everything from their potential co-founders, but also who they want to bring into the business right at the beginning. So if you are in that position and you're trying to figure out sort of what steps to take next, just drop me a message on LinkedIn and I'm happy to introduce you to their team. And then finally, we have Seedrs. We've obviously seen and heard a little bit about what they do on the panel, so thanks for that. For those of you that haven't come across that offering before, it's an equity crowdfunding. So effectively, it gives you an opportunity to open up your investment round to the crowd. So that normally means it's a mixture of kind of private investments and perhaps some angels that you secure privately. But it also means that you can get your friends and family and your customers to invest in your round too. And that's a fantastic marketing tool, right? Because even if a customer puts £10 into your business, they've now got skin in the game, and they're going to advocate really strongly for what you do. So it's a great way to get your customers more involved, and then finally to open up your business to the wider crowd. So to get people that have never heard of what you do before to invest and find you on the platform. So if you are raising a round, have a think about that. I can make an introduction to their team, or you can come and chat to I don't run it. Perfect. So that's our partners. So really, really appreciate their support. Have we've worked out the winner? Yes, I'm getting a nod from the back, so that's great. So really quickly before we announce the winner, it'd be great to hear from each of the judges and maybe a very quick sentence on sort of what you heard from the cohort. Yeah, immediately pass the microphone. I'm sure if I mention this in the prep.
I might stand up and address everyone actually, so that's nicer. I thought it was a really great cohort, really great energy, really well kind of rehearsed, thought through pitches, which kind of covered a lot of the key material. I didn't leave many pitches thinking, they've missed a key component of it. I think the personal passion came through massively, so it was a real joy and a really high standard of pitching going on, to be honest. I think there isn't really anything I'd say in the way of kind of improvement. I always like the idea of making things interactive, asking things questions. I really like how Tweak Live brought one of these along, and I think that's always great. You can always use the room and physical props to kind of help things. It's not just the pitch, it's actually everything that comes around it. So yeah, well done everyone, really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Better stand up now, otherwise. So just to echo what Tom said, really, a really, really varied, different mix of pitches today. All really passionate people, all doing their own thing really, really well. Everything from innovative tech all the way through to authentic people who are doing something because they want to make a difference of something they've felt themselves. So really well done. We know it's not easy to squeeze it into 90 seconds. Your businesses, some of them will be very complex. I hope the flight one is quite complex, otherwise you kind of miss the boat. So, massive thanks to all of you. Well done for today. Thank you.
I really enjoyed it. I learned a huge amount about things that I didn't know before, so I'm very grateful for that. The pitch is the hook, so continue to embellish and polish. I thought it was a great event, so I really enjoyed it.
Brilliant. Thanks, Colin. While Andy brings this up, we'll also have a people's choice. So in a couple of weeks' time, we'll pop you an email to all of the videos of the pitches from tonight. And if you do want to score and think one of the founders that maybe didn't win should get through to the final, you can vote on that. So do look out for that email. But without further ado, the winner of tonight is Flux Aviation. So can I have a massive round of applause? So they have had to run and get their trains and destruction. But the second place was Earthy, if I'm saying that right. So if they'd love to jump up on stage, we'd love to.
Yeah, of course. I just want to say thank you very much for this organisation. I think it's been an absolutely brilliant evening, and it's for me it was just because you've got to sit in your office most of the time, sit in your own little bubble, and you don't really get to see the outside world. It's really nice to come outside, see some amazing talented people, and to meet the judges as well. So thank you so much for the organisation and everything you've done, and yeah, great to see all the support as well. Brilliant. Thank you so much.
How you can meet investors in bars, so please do hang around, drink and network. So thanks everyone.